What's up, JEFusion fans? This is Phil, and welcome back to another video. So, I actually would like to do an anime review this time around, and I would like to talk about my personal favorite anime of 2025. So, Solo Leveling can go jump off a cliff. But, anyways, so my personal favorite anime of 2025 is gotta be Mashin Souzouden Wataru. So, to those who are not familiar, it is actually some sort of a reboot, if you will. So, it is part of the much larger, I guess, Wataru franchise. So, to give a bit more context about this anime, so it started back in the late 80s with an anime called Mashin Souzouden Wataru. And it kind of continued on into the 90s with two more seasons. Basically, Mashin Souzouden Wataru 2 and Cho Mashin Souzouden Wataru. So, growing up, I have actually seen Cho Mashin Souzouden Wataru, and it was aired in the Philippines in the year 2000. So, it was my only exposure to the Wataru uh, franchise, but I did love that anime so much, and uh, I really wanted some of the like robots and plastic models, and I did see some of those sold, but I never bought them for some reason. But anyways, yes, I know about the Wataru series at the very least, and again, I have seen at least another one of their shows. And back in around 2022, there was another Mashin Eiyuden Wataru movie, which I haven't seen, but I believe it like kind of concluded the Mashin Eiyuden Wataru series as a whole. So now, let's jump into 2025 with Mashin Souzouden Wataru. And actually, I could talk about this show like from experience and like watching it, and I can summarize in general, but thankfully, I have something that can help me explain everything to you in a much more concise and understandable manner. And what I have here is the instruction manual for Shin Duo Maru. Now, I'm going to talk about the robot itself later, but as you can see here, there are actually blurbs about uh, the anime's overall story, and you might not see on camera, it's too small, but yes, there is something written in English, and we can actually talk about the characters as well. So let's talk about the overall plot first. So I'm gonna read. So about Mashin Creator Wataru, or Mashin Souzouden Wataru. So, protagonist Wataru Hoshibe, an elementary school student in 4th grade, is a YouTuber who wants to become a superstar. His adventure begins in the Chubukai parallel world alongside with Ryujin Maru, a machine Wataru created out of blocks to defeat the final boss Enjoda. So this is the more general plot of the story. So to give more details to this one, so the Chubukai is basically an online world, you could say. So again, as I've mentioned earlier, as I've read here, so our main protagonist is a YouTuber, not YouTuber, a YouTuber, like Ryu as in dragon. But again, you can see the parallels here. So he is a young online content creator, and he made his machine, so basically the robot you can see here, out of blocks. This is basically Minecraft turned into an isekai mecha anime. So that's how I could describe this anime to all of you guys. So if you haven't watched it yet, so Shichibukai, or rather Chubukai, sorry. So it's actually somewhat of like a mountain divided into like seven floating portions, And basically, Wataru and another character I'll mention. So I'll mention later. So their adventures involve again like traveling throughout the world of Chubukai. So there are like different levels to that, and each level, so they have to like liberate or set free from some sort of like evil. Basically, those villains are influenced by this final boss named Enjodas. Again, I have mentioned earlier. So Wataru is also looking for items called the seven blocks. So, as the name suggests, so he is looking for seven colored blocks, basically like each of them in the color of the rainbow, and again, obtain that power to save that online world from the hands of Enjoda. So, anyways, I'm gonna talk about the main character first. So let's talk about the main character right here. So his name is Wataru Hoshibe. So he's an elementary student in the 4th grade. So he's a YouTuber who wants to become a superstar. So I have also mentioned in the overall plot of the show. So his catchphrase is Instaban. Actually, this is an anglicized version. Like if this were to get an English dub, this is probably what he would say. But in Japanese, he says "byode bandaze." So yeah, we have actually a secondary protagonist here. So his name is Kakeru Amabe. So he's also an elementary student in the 4th grade, and he teams up with Wataru to stream on their YouTube channel. His catchphrase is, "This is it, true honor and kindness." So, これぞ、義理、人情. So, actually, it doesn't really say in this like blurb, but they're actually cousins, and that show really illustrates it to us. And like in the show, so Wataru often goes to Kakeru's house, actually like their grandfather's house. So it, like it actually is convenient that they just happen to live nearby each other. So Wataru would often go over to Kakeru and their grandfather's house, and they would actually, work together to make videos. So again, that's their goal together as a team. So they run a YouTube channel together. So basically, both of them are pulled into the online world, aka the Chubukai. However, what happens is that they are actually separated. Now, Wataru teams up with a couple of characters. Now, it's hard to see in this shot, but here. So this guy, his name is Offline. Yes, his name is Offline. And there's he basically serves as like Wataru's mentor throughout the series. And then there's also a girl here named Maro. So she's the one with the pink hair. So they are Wataru's companions. So while Kakaru is separated, so he meets a couple of characters as well. So we have Sho and Maiga. So Sho Maiga. So, anyways, so Wataru and again Kakaru are separated, but they ended up, finding like other people to help them on their journey. Of course, Wataru and Kakeru eventually meet up again, but they decided at some point that actually this is quite early on in the show. So they decided to have a competition, like who gets the 7 blocks first. So like there are episodes where Wataru is able to get pieces of the 7 blocks, and there are some cases where Kakeru actually gets the pieces of the 7 blocks. Now, at some point, basically in the middle of the show, they do end up reconciling, I guess. They weren't really in any like uh, conflict. Basically, they were never in any actual conflict with each other. They did have, again, like this type of rivalry, whoever gets the 7 blocks first. But it turns out that Kakeru's companions Sho and Maiga were actually working for Enjoda the whole time. However, both of these characters will also have their redemption arc, especially Maiga, who is revealed to be someone who is a bit more important. Now, that one I leave for you to find out yourselves. So, again, as both Wataru and Kakeru, journey through Chubukai and, help the people collect the 7 blocks along the way. So, like, most of the villains, all of the villains actually, so they would also fight in their own respective machines. And uh, apart from, I think Mano is the only character basically to not have a machine of her own, but like the rest of the characters, like online show Maiga, like the other characters, again, like the other villains that they also fight, even Enjoda himself, so they have their own machine. So again, so we can see here, so this is Saint Ryuomaru or Shin Ryuomaru. So actually, when we say Ryuomaru, it's more of a power up of another machine called Ryujin Maru. So now we get into the mechs of this anime, or the machine, if you will. So Wataru is the pilot or the partner of the machine called Ryujin Maru. Now, I don't actually have Ryujin Maru himself, ironically speaking, but along the way, so upon completing, so at some point, Wataru actually gains all of the seven blocks, and with the help of the 7 blocks, he's actually able to upgrade Ryujin Maru into. So actually, I'm gonna get it here. So he actually eventually upgrades Ryujin Maru into Ryuomaru. So this is basically like the secondary, or rather, like, again, like the upgrade mech that Wataru gains, again, by completing or gaining all of the 7 blocks, plus again combining it with Ryujin Maru, so we get Ryuomaru. However, that's not all. So Kakeru himself also gets his own machine. So initially, he is the pilot of a mech called Kirin Maru, and at some point, so Kirin Maru is also destroyed, and thanks to Kakeru's own creativity, so he is also to upgrade into. He's also able to upgrade Kirin Maru into a mech called Koryu Maru. Now, basically, in the last 2 episodes of the show, so the show has 24 episodes. I'll get to that later. 25 rather, sorry. So by episode 24, so when it's finally time to defeat Enjoda, uh, so Wataru and Kakeru use the power of the 7 blocks to combine both Ryuomaru, so this guy again I have right here, and so Wataru's Ryuomaru and Kakeru's Koryumaru, so they are combined in order to form Shin Ryuomaru, as you can see right here. Now, interestingly, so these costumes are also exclusive when they're piloting Shin Ryuomaru. What is interesting about this aspect, so Wataru, when he pilots Ryujin Maru, so his cockpit is like different from the other Mashin pilots or Mashin partners, if you will. So, like Kakeru and the other Mashin pilots have a more traditional looking cockpit, like with seats and like controllers and buttons and stuff. But Ryujin Maru's cockpit, if you can call it that, is actually quite different. So basically, inside, so there's actually like some sort of dimension inside of Ryujin Maru, and there is a golden dragon inside, which is also Ryujin Maru himself. So what Wataru actually does is he would stand on top of Ryujin Maru's head, so the golden dragon inside the robot. So he would actually grab the dragon by the horns, and that is actually how he would kind of pilot it. But it like Ryujin Maru is basically piloted by Wataru's willpower. While Wataru does grab onto the dragon's horns, he doesn't actually try to move them like there are some sort of control sticks. But again, like he just commands Ryujin Maru to do whatever, and like in order to do like the Toryu Ken. So Ryujin Maru's finishing technique. So actually, like Wataru does the slash himself, and actually like yeah, it's like how he pilots the robot. So again, Wataru and Kakeru traveled through Shichibukai. Have their Chubukai, and yeah, basically, uh, you know, save the online world, and eventually even like the real world, as you would see in the final episode. So let me now compare. So Mashin Souzouden Wataru to Mashin Eiyuden Wataru. So first, the main protagonist of the very first series, so the Mashin Eiyuden series, is um, Wataru, also named Wataru, but uh, his Wataru's name in the first series is Wataru Ikusabe. So this is a brand new Wataru. This is a completely different Wataru. And I guess like their catchphrases are also different. So I think it's more distinct if like I use the Japanese phrase. So again, this Wataru says "Byode bandaze," and the original Wataru or the first Wataru says "Kyo omoshiro kakko ize." So they have very different catchphrases. And in the original series, in the Mashin Eiyuden series, so there is actually no like secondary protagonist like Kakeru over here. However, like the closest thing or the closest character that Wataru Ikusabe has to someone like uh, Kakeru is a character called Torao. So Torao is basically is a rival character who at some point actually becomes Wataru's best friend, and he also has his own robot called Koryu Maru, but I think I may be mistaken, but I don't know. But Torao has his own machine as well. Now, there are some similarities between these two shows as well. So, in Mashin Eiyuden Wataru, so Wataru Ikusabe has to save like the world, but there is also a mountain called Sokaizan. So it is also a mountain that has like 7 floating divisions. Like each part of the mountain is floating on top of each other, and he has to save like each level one by one. In the first series, like actually, so there is basically a rainbow that uh, you know glows around the mountain, but when the main enemy of that show, so he's called Do Akuda. So when Doakuda takes control of Sokaizan, so all the so the rainbow basically vanishes, or rather, it becomes dark and colorless. So each time Wataru Ikusabe like clears a level and saves like each level at a time, so the colors also return one by one, which is an interesting concept. So in especially in Chomashin Eiyu Den Wataru, so Wataru Ikusabe also tries to gather like 7 gems, or magatama if you would call them. So magatama are like Japanese beads that are shaped like commas, or gems that are shaped like commas. So each magatama contains power, and especially again in Cho Mashin Eiyuden Wataru, which I am more familiar with. So every time that Wataru Ikusabe gains, or just about when he's about to like save one level of Sokaizan, he receives like the gem that is required to save that world. So he uses that gem to give Ryujin Maru different power-ups. Like each level, each Magatama or each gem gives Ryujin Maru like a different form each and every time, which is so amazing. And when he clears, or when he gets that final gem, like it combines all of the other 6 forms into like an ultimate Ryujin Maru, the Cho Mashin Ryujin Maru, which is really really awesome. Now, in comparison though, like here in this anime, so again, basically like the 7 blocks kind of serve that same function as those 7 gems in Mashin Eiyuden Wataru. However, unlike that series, so Ryujin Maru only powers up twice basically. So again, the first power up is Ryu Omaru, and then later on, by combining with Koryu Maru, so we get Shin Ryu Omaru. So yeah, he only powers up twice, and that's kind of not really sad, but considering again, like this show only has 25 episodes, there actually isn't a lot of time for that. So compared to like the Mashin Eiyuden Wataru series, which could run for more or less like 50 episodes, like again, like it would be like a weekly show that could span a year. So they have more time to explore. They have uh, time to flesh out characters more, and again, especially give time for Ryujin Maru to gain more power ups. So that's what I think about when comparing these 2 shows and what they have to offer. But considering that this is basically a reboot of the Wataru franchise, so do you need to watch the previous series in order to enjoy this one? No. In fact, again, this is a brand new entry. This is a reboot. So this, well, of course, this would appeal to fans of like the Wataru series in the past, the Mashin Eiyuden series. But again, it is also going to appeal to new fans with basically a new show, a new character to to follow, while still maintaining elements of the previous show. Again, that uh, you know, like the older generations would enjoy as well. Overall, again, as an anime that basically has become one of my fuels for getting back into plastic models. Yeah, this series, for what it's worth, so it again 25 episodes, and excluding commercials, Each episode would run for more or less 25 minutes as well. So it is, I would say, like an easy binge watch in a day or two. Like you could spend a whole weekend watching the entirety of Mashin Souzouden Wataru. So again, this is a good introduction to the Wataru franchise. Uh, you don't need the older 1980s, like the 80s, 90s franchise or the nine or those series in order to appreciate this one. But if you're also interested after watching this, you can also go check out like the Mashin Eiyuden series as well. And I actually recommend watching if you can find it anywhere. So I actually haven't finished rewatching Cho Mashin Eiyuden Wataru, but if I can get that opportunity, I will get back to watching you know that show. But again, for Mashin Souzouden Wataru, yeah, it is a refreshing restart for the series, and hopefully they'd make more of these as well, because I'm really excited what other forms Ryujin Maru can take. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. And so I'm gonna give Mashin Souzouden Wataru as a series. It's a 5 out of 5, really. Now, despite being like the design and the story, um like it's a kids show. Obviously the designs are targeted towards younger consumers. The plastic models are basically like your entry grades, but look at how hefty this guy looks. Again, even adults uh would enjoy building this. In fact, the reason I got this specific model, this Shinduo Maru, is thanks to a former coworker who's older than me. Adults enjoy this too. So again, the toys, like the plastic models are really really awesome. And by the way, the main selling point of these models is that you can buy like different character, like, or like different machines and mishmash them together, like you can see right here in this picture. So basically Shin Ryu Omaru mixed with parts from Ryu Omaru and Ryujin Maru, so you can make an original machine of your own. Really, there's a lot of play value in these toys. Really, 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 really. And again, the show itself is entertaining. And again, like the show got me buying these. See, like looking at the Ryujin Maru. Actually, again, I've never had like the Cho Mashin Eiyuden Wataru models when I was growing up. So when I found out that the Wataru series is coming back, if you will, and like it's a brand new story with a brand new character and a brand new Ryujin Maru, and I said to myself, you know what? Let's get these models. And maybe eventually I could actually finally get into building the original Ryujin Maru here. So I can complete the Ryujin Maru set. Ironically, I don't have the first one, but I have the second and third forms of the same robot. So that's funny to think. But yeah, it is a highly recommended show. Again, even though it looks it is targeted towards younger audiences, it is still something that adults can enjoy. And considering the setting of the show, again, like the heavy usage of like online content creation, again the main characters being YouTubers, again making videos, like references to, or rather, like inspiration taken from games like Minecraft, because again, uh, like the machines that Wataru and Kakeru have are made by them. They are made by putting together special blocks, and those blocks come to life as robots. It's again, it's really really fun. So yeah, I highly recommend watching Mashin Souzouden Wataru if you can find it. I cannot recommend this enough. This is my favorite anime of the year. So again, it's a 5 out of 5 for me. So with that said, thank you for watching. And as always, please do leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, and don't forget that notification bell so you get the latest from JEFusion. This has been Philip, and I'll see you next time. Yo, de bandas